Hey guys, happy Friday. So today we're going to finish our series that we've been going through all week long about Peter and Jesus, and we're going to talk through chapter 21 of John's Gospel, verse 18, where Jesus says to Peter, "Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were young, you used to dress yourself and walk wherever you wanted, but when you are old, you will stretch out your hands, and another will dress you and carry you where you do not want to go." You see, for Peter, this is Jesus telling him that eventually he's going to come to the cross, right? Peter, who denied Jesus and ran away and hid himself from the crucifixion, that's actually how he's going to die. But what's interesting about this passage is that in verse 19, Jesus goes on to, again, talk about this is how you're going to die, but he ends with two very powerful words to Peter. Follow me. You see, Jesus is not calling Peter to a life of luxury. He's actually going to call him to a life of struggle and suffering that's ultimately going to lead him to crucifixion, as church tradition tells us. See, Peter is an average Joe. He's a fisherman, right? And yet he's going to become this very important leader in the church, but not in this big mega church kind of label where he's preaching to thousands and thousands on the weekend. Instead, actually, we only get one instance where he preaches to a couple thousand people, and that's Pentecost. And it's really not about Peter in that story. But Peter is going to be spending a lot of time struggling. He's going to spend a lot of time in debate with Jewish leaders and the Apostle Paul. But Peter's also going to spend a lot of time with people on the streets, healing them. See, his focus is actually going to be on ministry and on people, not on a pursuit of luxury. I think for the first time in our society, we're really coming to grips with just how much focus we put on the pursuit of luxury, how much time and energy and resources we put to them. And I think we're all kind of coming to the same conclusion. One, they're not as important as we make them out to be on an average day. And two, that we spend a lot of time and money and resources on them. I'm a huge sports junkie. I'm a huge Penguins fan. Part of why I'm wearing this t-shirt. I miss it. I'm not going to lie to you. I do miss turning on the TV and watching these unbelievably talented people just go out and play on the ice. I'm a huge hockey fan. And to me, it's also a social thing. Go on dates with my wife to the different games, or you just meet people, or you hang out and go to people's basements or living rooms and watch the game. And I miss that. But you know what I'm finding? Elizabeth and I are spending a lot of time, and I'm sure we're not the only household, pulling out board games and card games and some of the old stuff we all have around our house. And we're having a lot of genuine conversations these days. And I'm not saying we can't do that over sports. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is all of a sudden my focus has not been on these great luxuries of our day and age, but on the people that I'm spending time with. We've spent more time talking and texting and video chatting with our relatives than we probably ever have been in our marriage. And I'm sure we're not the only ones feeling that way. And I think it's easy to say in this day and age, we're realizing that luxuries and these things that we've been pursuing aren't nearly as important as the people God has placed in our life. I was talking to a couple pastors this week, and they were telling me about some of the generosities of their church. The different giveaways they've been doing, the ways they've been supporting their local communities. And these are churches that are hanging on financially by a thread. And so that was kind of a question that I was going to ask, but they were ahead of me. And they're like, financially, we're actually doing better than we've ever done before. And we're giving away more than we've ever given before. And I'm not going to preach a prosperity gospel where it says the more we do for God, the more he gives us back materially. But what I'm saying is the more ministry we are called to do, and the more obedient we are, the more God seems to provide in those moments. You see, when our focus is in on people and it's on ministry, it's amazing just how awesome God can work and bless us. For Peter, it's not becoming this great celebrity pastor that preaches to thousands and thousands of people. In fact, it's a life of struggle and hardship. But look at what God had done through the life of Peter. Many people come to believe in Jesus because of Peter. Many people are saved in Jesus' name because of Peter. Peter writes 2 books of the New Testament, and probably his testimony is used all over the gospel stories. He's certainly a major character in them. Even in the book of Acts, he takes up the whole first part. And so here's a guy of life of struggle that God has used for centuries to bless the church. What I'm saying today is Jesus told Peter, you're going to struggle, you're going to suffer. but follow me. Remember the call that Jesus had for Peter way at the beginning of his story. Follow me and I will make you fishers of men. Here we see it happening at the end of John's gospel. And for us, the question is, are we focusing in on the luxuries and the status symbols around us in our world? Or are we focusing in on the people that God is laying before us? You see, when we're obedient to the people and the ministry God calls us to, it's amazing to be able to look back and to see what all he has done in and through us. Not just here and now, but for generations to come. When we are investing in people, God has this tendency to work far beyond and far more unfathomably than we could ever think or imagine. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.